Hey everyone, Wade Franson here with an exciting sneak peek. I have an amazing guest in the studio today. His name is Constantine Psimopoulos, and he is a leading figure in the field of bioethics. His focus is on overall well-being and abundant life, human flourishing, and the intersection of our view of medicine and doctors. Welcome to the studio, Constantine.
Thank you so much for having me, Wade. Wonderful to be here.
Well, right before we clicked the record button, we were having this fascinating conversation in which you brought up the example of the Good Samaritan. Jesus in his day came to a fervently religious group under a large occupying power. They were expecting him to come and free them up from the dominion of an outside power, and his teachings, he said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. How does the parable of the Good Samaritan fit into that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a wonderful question, and you're leading me to my favorite parable as a Christian, an Orthodox Christian myself, very ecumenically minded one. I think it is really the crux of all of medicine and healthcare. And it could give us, especially today in this day and age, and in the United States, but globally more than ever, an idea of how we can really have medicine and all of healthcare and public health reimagined from the specific impetus being that Jesus Christ really tells us in this parable by Luke on who is actually going to care about their neighbor, and then specifies who that neighbor is. So what we're really lacking in medicine, and we see that in bioethics, is this soul of care. Who is going to understand that really our neighbor is not in this figuratively, but also metaphorically meaning, rather than just the literal meaning of the actual neighbor. It is anyone in close proximity to us. And if we believe that we're created in the image, and as we say in the Orthodox tradition, the likeness as well of God, we have to realize that what is the most meaningful to consider in medicine, but also all of healthcare, is the human dignity of the other person who is in close proximity to us. That's what Christ wanted us to do.
Awesome. So a question that most people are focused on, however, is like the big picture, right? Global universal health care. And these are big questions, but what I'm hearing from you is a need to focus on the personal, the individual doctor, and the relationship with the patient at this, let's call it the cellular level, versus the societal policy level. Both are important, but how do you deal with those two sides of it?
Absolutely. And I can tell you a very brief example from my favorite professor when I was a student at Harvard Medical School, the late Paul Farmer, co-founder of the Partners in Health, a global enterprise based on the notion that we should care especially for those who are the destitute, poor, and sick of the world, and those really need us the most. And what he said was he despised any notion of cost effectiveness or utilitarian kind of thinking when it comes to medicine, looking at just numbers or statistics and not the individual. We have to look into the person. And so first the person, and then, of course, his or her body and soul holistically. But starting with who is the patient, who is the person that we have in front of us, and that is where our focus should be and ought to be before any kind of financial concerns or time constraints. This is all constructed. Those are constructs rather than the essence of what we should be doing, first as people in medicine, scientists in academia, but also as human beings in society. We really need it in the United States especially, but the whole world over as today.
Two hugely important views and perspectives on this topic, and during the whole hour that we will have together, we'll have the time to cover much more. So everyone listening into this sneak peek, you do not want to miss next week's show with Constantine Psimopoulos on April 14th on Created in the Image of God, 8 p.m. Central. We will see you there.